So forgive me, I moved out under a few of the small chestnut trees. There are bigger ones, but you can see the chestnuts under this one because I realize I've only been reading poems by folks that are still alive. I grew up reading poems written by people who were long dead, and this was in the 1950s, and these folks wrote poems in the 1800s. So I thought I'd show a little bit of the diversity this morning and read a couple by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Now, you talk about a diverse poet. Longfellow fits that bill. He, as a matter of fact, Christmas carols that we sing today, check them, see who wrote them. Longfellow wrote some of them. He wrote a lot of things that are familiar to everyone, but the two I want to read today, they have nothing in common. I'm not playing the look at this mood card right now. It's just two from my childhood that I really enjoy, and I couldn't help but move out under this tree, and you'll see why. Because the first one is called The Village Blacksmith. Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands. The muscles of his brawny arm are strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long. His face is like the tan. His brow is wet with honest sweat. He earns whatever he can. And he looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any man. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow. You can hear him swing his heavy sledge with measured beat and slow, like a sexton ringing the village bell when the evening sun is low. And children coming home from school look in at the open door. They love to see the flaming forge and hear the bellows roar and catch the burning sparks that fly like chaff from the threshing floor. He goes on Sunday to the church and sits among his boys. He hears the parson pray and preach. He hears his daughter's voice singing in the village choir, and it makes his heart rejoice. It sounds to him like her mother's heart singing in paradise. He needs must think of her once more, how in the grave she lies. And with his hard, rough hand, he wipes a tear out of his eye. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begin, each evening sees it close. Something attempted, something done. He earned a night's repose. Thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lesson thou hast taught. Thus at the flaming forge of life our fortunes must be wrought. Thus on its sounding anvil shaped each burning deed and thought. Powerful poem. Except for the fact that we don't have many village smithies anymore, that could have been written today, about today. By the way, I mentioned Christmas carols. If you've ever sung I've Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, guess who wrote that? Yeah, same guy, Longfellow. But the other one I want to read today is called The Children's Hour, and it's been one of my favorites now for, over 60 years. It's been one of my favorites because it was first read to me before I could read in the 1950s. The Children's Hour. Between the dark and the daylight, when the night is beginning to lower, comes a pause in the day's occupation that is known as the children's hour. I hear in the chamber above me the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opening, voices soft and sweet. From my study, I see in the lamplight descending the broad hall stair, grave Alice, laughing Allegra, and Edith with golden hair. a whisper, and then a silence. Yet I know by their merry eyes they're plotting and planning together to take me by surprise. A sudden rush from the stairway, a sudden raid from the hall. By 3 doors left unguarded, they enter my castle wall. They climb up into my turret or the arms and back of my chair. If I try to escape, they surround me. They seem to be everywhere. They almost devour me with kisses. Their arms about me entwine until I think of the Bishop of Bingen in his mouse tower on the Rhine. Do you think, O blue-eyed banditti, because you have scaled the wall, such an old mustache as I am is not a match for you all? I have you fast in my fortress, and I will not let you depart, but put you down in the dungeon in the round tower of my heart. And there I will keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the walls shall crumble to ruin and molder in dust away. These guys had it together. They were, I would say, timeless poets. And the funny thing is, they didn't all like one another either. Lord Byron and Wordsworth had an absolute feud. Wordsworth is in Maine, Byron is in Europe. And Lord Byron writes a letter to Dear Mr. Turdsworth, because that's how he referred to him. Those guys are crazy. They were then, and people today are just as crazy. So I hope you enjoyed Longfellow, and I'm going to reach back for some others. I know Lovelace and Blake, and maybe even Lord Byron. I don't know. I'll intersperse some of these guys with and women with the ones of today, and see how they shape out. About the only big difference that I see is that the further back I go, the more they love to rhyme. And rhymed poetry is not always my favorite, but some of these things are absolutely priceless to me and absolutely timeless to me.